Welcome to Smells Like Potential, the rewatch podcast you didn't know you needed. Ted has a very special surprise guest that likes to tell stories just as much as Ted does. Beard shares his dark history with Nate, and Roy and Keeley try to help Jamie find his wings.
And find his wings he does. It seems like a trip home, a heart to heart with Hello Mummy, and a chat with Ted brings him the peace that he hadn't yet discovered.
Hmm.
This episode is named Mom City, and I believe it's really the writer's ode to motherhood. With all of the father and daddy drama of the three seasons combined, it's really heartwarming to see a shift to focus on moms in this episode. The trip home for Jamie, the kitchen scene for Ted, these are crucial moments in not just plot development, but character development for our favorite striker on the team and favorite coach in the season. So, pretty powerful. I'm not ashamed to say this was one of the episodes that brings tears to my eyes, pretty much every watch.
Georgie gets me every single time.
Yeah.
It's just her pride in her son
Yeah.
is, oh, she's so sweet. I love Georgie, fantastic character. I know we're following the women's team in season 4, but season 4 suggestion box, can we get Georgie for a little bit again?
Yeah. Wouldn't it be great? Like, let's bring her in somehow.
Right. She understands what it's like to be around somebody that's under a lot of pressure and has gone through some difficult things.
Right. Demonstration of unconditional love, I think, is so crucial, right? Where his dad's love is very conditional.
Hmm.
His mom is really just a perfect personification of I love you and I just want you to be happy. If you
Yes.
win, great. If they score 10 goals and you lose, that's still fine.
And she has this great quote for him. She says, "You're not lost. You're just not sure what direction you're going in yet."
Right. And that pause is crucial.
Hmm.
The other thing, and you've been pointing this out and hinting at it throughout our rewatch, we don't ever hear Roy talk about a mother figure, even a grandmother. All we hear about is granddad. We
Right.
don't even hear
Not
about,
once.
yeah, we don't hear about his dad either. So it's interesting looking at this episode through Roy's eyes. He's astonished by
Mhm.
nearly everything he sees at Jamie's home. He's got a loving dad. He's got obviously the mom we just described. He has a home that welcomes him back in, a childhood bedroom that's been preserved. It's just such a welcoming space. And I think all of it is astonishing to Roy. He goes in for a hug when it's not invited to say goodbye to Georgie. And
One
Keely
for the
has
road.
one for the road. Keely has to sort of pull him away because you don't know her that well.
So ready to get some mom affection. It reminds me of those shirts that say free hugs, right?
Right.
Would Roy be willing to get a free hug from somebody now?
Yeah. Just from what we know of Roy, I think that this lack of a mother figure has affected his relationships with women. I think that he doesn't really see what a healthy relationship looks like because he didn't have a model of it. So I think that's what he's struggling with in this season and what sort of came to light in his conversation with Miss Bowen in the last episode.
Did you notice? So, not a focus on Roy for a moment, but I just remembered a thing that there were 4 words that got said. Jamie said them and Ted said them. So, I'm going to edit for our audience. Jamie's version was F you, thank you, but
Right.
Ted's version was thank you, F you.
Yes. And it was prompted by Ted asking the question, if your dad was here right now, what would you say to him?
Mhm.
And then when Ted was confronted with an opportunity to talk to his mom, he took that response from Jamie and flipped it because he wanted to start with thank you and gratitude. And he's truly grateful for his mom and everything she did for him and coming all the way across the globe to be with him because she just wanted to check in on him. He led with gratitude, but then I think quite shockingly, and this represents the first time we've heard Ted Lasso as a character say the F word because he's sort of the PG-13 version of the coach staff, right? Here in this episode, the first time he does it, and it's clearly shocking to Dottie, to his mom.
Oh, right. Yeah, Ted is a minced oath guy. He says something other than the word every time. We heard fudge last episode. And so even for me, it was like, oh, Ted's serious because he's swearing.
Yeah,
He really means it. Well, we got to meet Dottie.
yeah.
Dottie
It's
who hugs everybody and loves to drink tea.
Yeah, although I think hers is a little sweeter than the British version. I loved the fact that when we get to see Rebecca meet her, she's not really properly introduced. And she pulls sort of a joke on her. She says, I'm Coach Lasso's new security guard. And that sort of throws Rebecca off. But then as soon as she gets to hear her first response, she's immediately like, oh, you're Ted's mom. I get it right away. And she offers to show her around, which is the same thing she does in the very first episode of season one with Ted. And they both basically have the same reaction. Do you remember what Ted said?
Chet said, "I'd love to see Abbey Road."
Because he loves the Beatles. And then Dottie says, I'd love to, I hear there's a great Sherlock Holmes museum. And of course, in both cases, Rebecca was just talking about the soccer facility.
It was a great callback to the first episode. It happens with both the Lassos.
Yes. And there's another callback too when Ted says, I love meeting people's moms because it's like the instruction guidebook for what makes them crazy or something along those lines. And I feel that Rebecca is running that through her brain right now, like, oh boy, this is going to be kind of fun. And then all she wants to do is meet Danny Rojas. And Rebecca says,
Right.
he does not disappoint.
Let's go back to the kitchen scene. They are having a very much unwanted but needed heart to heart conversation that Dottie was not prepared for. After she tells Ted, "Your son misses you," and Ted breaks down,
Yeah.
she has these words: "That is the thing about being a parent. Sometimes you lose and sometimes you win, but most of the time you just tie. All we can do is keep playing."
Right.
And
It's,
I thought that was very gracious of her after hearing about her failures as a parent to comfort her son when it's clear her son is hurting.
yeah. And setting him on a course where felt like he had to pretend that he was fine always. There's a moment in the pub where Dottie asks Beard, how is Ted? And he goes, oh, Ted is Ted. She goes, no, but I mean, how is he? Is he still taking care of everyone else's needs and not allowing anyone to help him? But Beard asks her how she's doing after that. And she says, oh, well, you don't need to worry about my problems. She immediately does the same thing she accuses Ted of doing. So it's clear where he got that behavior, where that was learned. It's a nice insight into sort of the background of Ted.
And my immediate dark response was, "Oh, Dottie's sick. That's why she's here in London."
Well, and that's his first question. Are you okay? Is everything okay? Why are you here? Like, yeah,
Mhm.
as a good son would do. Yeah.
So, no pillow fight this episode. We went with movie night. Darn.
Oh, that's true. He said they would never go back, but I don't know because he wasn't involved in the decision to the movie for the pillow fight. He may have been unaware.
Or it's their secret, and he's never gonna
Yeah.
tell Ted that they had a pillow fight.
Yeah, 'cause they like the movies. But tell me, it was a Nora Ephron movie, right?
Yes, it was. During the movie, whispering is happening, and is Sleepless in Seattle superior to You've Got Mail?
I have a definite opinion. Do you wanna share yours?
I think from a storytelling perspective, I like Sleepless in Seattle. Can't lose with Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan, no matter what they do. I mean, Joe versus the volcano, maybe we could argue about that, but,
Yeah.
uh,
Well, I don't even count that in this same category.
I do like the story of Sleepless in Seattle better.
Yeah, I do too. It's hard, to get past how much of a creep he is in at the beginning of You Got Mail,
Yeah.
and he wins her over, but I'm not entirely sold that he wins the audience over. I will say that I was excited by the concept of You Got Mail being a techie. I just liked that we're starting to see a new kind of rom-com that incorporates technology. I wanted to like it more, but no. The strength of Sleepless in Seattle and the heart that it shares, the connection to New York, the Empire State Building, and just the romance of it all, the connection to the Affair to Remember, the involvement of a child. It has so many different ways it pulls on your heartstrings. At the end of that movie, there's a Harry Nilsson version of Over the Rainbow. And of course, this
Mm,
is a reference to Kansas. At the end of this episode, we see the payoff to that the whole episode, in some cases, the whole season, has been about Ted's yearning to be with his son and
mhm.
be home. Why are we still here, coach? He would say to Beard. And throughout this whole season, we've heard that. So I thought that was a particularly touching way of incorporating both a rom com, Nora Ephron, and the yearning for Kansas in one fell swoop in just one small clip from the movie. It was brilliantly done.
Agreed.
The other fun little call out here is the mention by Leslie that at one point in time, Freddie Mercury briefly owned Richmond. What?
And
The
what
Freddie
theme
Mercury?
song? Of all of the things that they could pick from Freddie Mercury's catalog, what
Right.
song did they pick?
Yeah, well, Freddie wanted them to sing Fat Bottom Girls. He thought that would be the perfect song for the fans to sing together, much like Blue Moon in Man City and Three Little Birds in Amsterdam with Ajax. Apparently, they tried to make it a thing. They tried to make Fetch happen and it,
They make the rock and world go round.
make the rock and world go round. As much as I love the song, it's a fantastic song. I could see how that's probably not an appropriate song for fans of all ages.
Right, and Rebecca said his greatest talent was not his 4-octave range, but flipping straights.
I found it interesting that Beard knew exactly what the go-to karaoke song for he and Ted would be for the post-victory karaoke night, "Islands in the Stream," which
Dibs
is
on Dolly.
yeah. So he wants to sing Dolly's Role, which is a great classic song. There's also probably my favorite commissioned song of the series. There are two, and they put one in this episode and one in the series finale. This one is by Sam Ryder. He won the Euros and often is compared to Freddie Mercury in his voice, in his quality, his capabilities, his range. They had it co written by Tom Howe, who's the show's composer. There's some references to things that happen in the episode. We learned in the last episode about the mountain and the lightning. And there's a reference in this song to that storm that we're talking about and how you react to it. But ultimately, this song's message is it's better to have fought and lost than to never fought at all. It's sort of a spin off of that. And then a fun connection to Queen is Brian May is featured on the song to do a solo, guitar solo in the middle of it, which is just fantastic. So I actually have this in my regular circulation or rotation of a song that I love listening to and singing along with. It's great. It's a great song.
Do we have a list that we can share with everybody?
We do, in fact. There are a few out there, but we can post it in the description. We used to share this in the session we would present, and we had a QR code. So, yeah, check that out. And thank you for calling that out. Um, one more thing I just want to share is that over the credits, there is the song Home, sung by Diana Ross famously in The Wiz. And she's also Dorothy, and she wants to go back home to Kansas. Home is particularly special to me because it's the song I sang as a 13-year-old junior high graduate promotion ceremony. It was an extraordinary moment for me to perform in front of my fellow students, many of whom didn't know that I was a performer at that time. I love the song still. It's just an amazing rendition of that longing song that you find in a lot of Disney movies these days. It's the climax of the movie. And then, of course, our musical theater reference beyond that is Les Mis. Once again, we have another reference to Les Mis, and
Somebody really likes it.
somebody really clearly loves that show. Beard tells the story of how he met Ted, and it mirrors the story of Jean Valjean and how
Sort of.
sort of he stole a loaf of meth instead of a loaf of bread. Yeah. But yes, our story is very similar to Les Mis.
Yeah, and I love that this is where we talk about second chances and forgiveness in our presentation. And Beard, in this moment, when Ted says we really should consider Nate, that he has to pay it forward to Ted. He can't ignore his own second chance and not extend it to Nate. So the two of them finally have that conversation because you could see Beard is so disappointed in Nate's behavior, and to be able to extend that grace and that forgiveness that was once extended to him
Yeah.
was
It's a
needed. I think Beard needed to heal that part of himself as well.
it's a tremendous moment. And it's really triggered by Ted choosing to show Beard a moment of embarrassment for Nate that after, yeah, he tore the belief sign, but after he tore it, he then had to hide under Ted's desk for
Mm,
hours just because he didn't want to be seen and slink away, probably ashamed of what he's done by that time because he had hours to think about it. And
right.
Beard's watching, not happy, not satisfied with the shame that Nate had felt, and instead embarrassed that he'd used this same video to fire up the team to that catastrophic second half and Wembley. So I thought that was an interesting callback to that moment. There's another aspect of forgiveness that comes up, and it's when Jamie is injured and he's on the side of the field and they're playing a man down, which at any moment could be catastrophic. When you're a goal ahead against the best team in the league, you don't willingly choose to play a man down. But just for those that aren't familiar with the sport, if you accept that player is off the field, he can never go back on the field. So if he had sent a player in to replace Jamie, that's the end of Jamie's game. There's no more.
You
So
can't substitute him back in.
you can't sub them back in, even though you have extra subs left. So someone that doesn't understand the game may not realize why Beard and Roy are so frantic in that moment, and why Ted is so unwilling to send him off, because he knows he can't bring him out. And I think he thinks there's more in him. This
Mhm.
is his home field. This is his home crowd, and he has something to prove. Ted is ultimately proved right, but it could have been catastrophic if this were not a fictional story that we know the ending of now. That could have been a terrible decision, because it was at least 5 minutes, I think, without a player on that field. In that conversation with him, he says something that I think is really powerful. He says, Jamie, if hating your pops ain't motivating you like it used to, it might be time to try something different. Just forgive him. And it just rocked Jamie. He couldn't even imagine that. But the
Mhm.
more they talked, the more they went through it. And he said, what would you say to him if he was here right now? And that's what you already talked about. I think that was transformative for both men in that conversation.
It really was. You could see it on both of their faces.
Yeah.
Ted ends his speech by saying, "You ain't giving him anything. When you choose to do that, you're giving that to yourself."
Yep.
That was the part where he's like, "I have to talk to my mom."
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's very much similar to what we hear in Sunflowers from our Dutch boatman, where he says, "It's not something that happened to me, it happened for me." I thought
Mhm.
that was a nice through line as well. Before we close out, and because we'll have to cover a lot in the finale, let's talk a bit about what Ted Lasso has meant to each of us.
Oh, sure. Ted Lasso was joy and laughter for more than 3 years. I had a lot of personal parallels for every single episode. Even on rewatches, I'm finding new things that I agree with or I disagree with. So it's still fresh. It still keeps me thinking. One piece that I really appreciated was you and I were able to talk about psychological safety.
Yeah.
And we got to lead a lot of discussions about what psychological safety looks like in the classroom.
With an
And I'm
amazing
so
use case with Ted Lasso right here.
exactly. And I'm so grateful for the show for giving us an opportunity to share with teachers ways to help classroom community and culture.
I also found a lot of joy, laughter, and tears, as I shared earlier. I also have a special connection with the show because of my dad. My dad coached football for most of his life. And when I was born, it was clear that I wasn't going to play football. So he learned how to play soccer. He learned the game. He became a ref, so he'd know the rules. And by the time I was old enough, he could then be my coach. I had many, many days on the field with my dad. So many that when I became a dad and my son was old enough, I asked dad to be my assistant coach. So here's a guy who always cares more about the kids and their experience on the field than wins or losses or goals. He made it special for every one of those kids. I felt like my dad was in many ways a progenitor of Ted Lasso. So when the show came out, I was like, oh my gosh, this is my dad. So we couldn't get Apple TV to work at his house, and it was a beautiful gift because the only way he could see Ted Lasso was to come over to my house. So I watched every episode with my dad after watching it myself. So it's a very special connection for me. We lost my mom in 2020, and this aired in the summer. So it was a chance for us to heal together through that loss and laugh together and cry together about all the things that soccer and teammanship and leadership mean to us. So I truly appreciate that connection, and really appreciate the show for giving us that opportunity. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll catch you tomorrow for our reaction to season 3, episode 12, So Long, Farewell. It's the series finale, and we thought the last episode of all, but we have one more season starting tomorrow. And our outro quote for this episode is, I don't know about you, coach, but I hope that either all of us or none of us are judged by the actions of our weakest moments, but rather by the strength we show when and if we're ever given a second chance.